So Project Hail Mary is out. It's all the rage. Everyone's loving it. Cinema is saved because of Project Hail Mary, and everyone, 100% of people love it. It's in the Letterboxd top 100 as of now, and it's just sweeping the world. Everyone is unanimously agreeing that it is amazing, except me. Now, I feel like I need to preface a few things. Space films in general are a funny one for me. I'm not a fan of a lot of space films. There are space films I do like. I like 2001: A Space Odyssey. I like Moon. I liked Ad Astra. There's other ones. Oh, like Alien Romulus and Alien Covenant and Aliens. I like those space films. I haven't seen Solaris, so I can't comment on my opinion on that film yet. But more often than not, I'm not a big fan of people going in space, and it's just a bit boring for me. And no matter when they try to make it entertaining, it's still boring for me, and it comes across a bit more insufferable. And the comparison that I'm going to be drawing quite a bit when spewing my thoughts on Project Hail Mary, I am going to also somewhat be bringing up The Martian as an example. And the only reason why I do that is because Drew Goddard wrote both of these films. And also it's based off, both films are based off a book by Andy Weir. So it's coming from the same creative mind pretty much. The difference that Project Hail Mary has over The Martian is that Phil Lord and Chris Miller directs Project Hail Mary, whereas The Martian directed by Ridley Scott. And I find Ridley Scott to be an incredibly boring filmmaker. Not a big Ridley Scott fan. However, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, I've enjoyed a good chunk of their stuff. I remember enjoying Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I think the Lego Movie's fine. I'm actually not huge on the Lego Movie, but I do like the Jump Street films a lot. I'm a fan of those films. They are kind of like exactly my sense of humor comedy-wise. And although I know they didn't make them, but they were creatively involved with the Spider-Verse films, and I do really enjoy Into the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse is good. But so I'm not Lord and Miller haters, but I'm also not mega fans of them. So, and with this film, Project Hail Mary, yeah, as I said, I'm not into it. I'm not huge into it. Things I liked about Project Hail Mary, I can say for a fact that the visuals are gorgeous. I mean, I believe it's shot by Greg Fraser. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll fact check myself. And if I need to correct myself, I'll put a little note in now. But it looks good. It looks very nice. The score I like a lot. I don't know who composed it, but I do. I think the score, it's very ethereal and it's nice, and it's a very good score. I would listen to it independently of the film, and yeah, there are moments in it that I do like a lot. Like a lot? Is that the phrase I want to use? I like quite a bit. I like quite a bit up and like my enjoyment level on a verbal scale is I like quite a bit to I like quite a lot. The things I like quite a lot, I guess. I enjoy the moments of Ryan Gosling trying to figure out the language of this little rock alien that he inevitably calls Rocky. That's an interesting thing for me to witness. And I also do like the scene of Sandra Hüller singing karaoke. I think everyone's talked about it. It's a good scene. But I'm not sure if I only like that scene just because I think Sign of the Times is just a good song. And it kind of just, that song alone evokes just a bit of an emotional response, independent from the film itself. And it's going to make it sound like the way I'm kind of going, like, tonally. It's making it sound like I'm just going to be like, and now this is why I think it's bad. It's not a bad film. I'll be stupid to say it is a bad film. My enjoyment levels of it isn't as high as everyone else's. And I think for me, it's a similar issue that I had with The Martian, that it just kind of, like, the humor just isn't for me. It's not my kind of humor. And what I mean by that is, like, it's like, the way I feel about it, it's like this Robert Downey Jr. Marvel just tongue-in-cheek of, like, isn't this silly? And I couldn't think of a word to describe it until yesterday, and it's smug. The whole film just feels smug and very like, well, aren't we very funny? But I don't think any of the like, there's no jokes. It's not it's not like it's comedic, and it feels just very like, I don't know. We are taking this film seriously for a good chunk, and we're trying to be, a serious space film, and the whole world's gonna end, end. But then we just need to then just throw in a thing like, but let me say something silly, and I'm like, all right, well, I feel like all the stakes that the film builds just gets taken away once we have Ryan Gosling crack a joke. And I think that leads me on to talking about, like, Ryan Gosling in the film, because most of this film is Ryan Gosling. And I like Ryan Gosling. I do like him a lot. And I like him comedically. I'm a big fan of him in The Nice Guys. I'm a big fan of him in Barbie. I even really enjoyed him in The Fall Guy, which is a film that not a lot of people liked, but I had a good time with. And in this, I think what it is because the film isn't a comedy, but it's also not a drama. It's not able to find any, like, it's not able to commit. You know what I mean? Like, it's very like, all right, well, we want to do a big serious film, but we also don't want to be too serious, so we need to throw some humor in it, but we also don't want it to be silly. But there's a good chunk of this film where, like, the film starts and it's like, okay, I'm getting into, like, the feeling he's waking up from cryo sleep, and it's shot very, it's shot very nicely, and it's framed great, and the color grade is excellent. It's a gorgeously graded film. And then we got Ryan Gosling, and then Ryan Gosling is almost directed to be doing a comedy shtick. And the two things don't seem to match. Like, the visual language that is on screen doesn't feel like we should be doing a comedy bit. And I think a good chunk, and a lot of the first hour out of this near 3-hour goddamn film, like, Ryan Gosling feels like he's in a completely different film to everything else. So it's very difficult to settle in to it. And I also, I don't know, like, I feel like a massive spoil sport where I say, like, just none of the humor landed with me. And that's a big part of the film, is like, you need to find this guy likable. And I do find him likable because I find Ryan Gosling likable. He's not insufferable. This is the thing. The film isn't an insufferable film. I just find it very difficult, personally, to be able to get on board with it. And another chunk of the film, and again, I'm aware that what I'm about to say is very personal preference. It's not an objective viewpoint. But again, it's just, I feel like I'm too stupid for space films. It maybe not too stupid, because again, it's the same. Like, this is the same as, like, The Martian, of where they really try to, like, we're trying to make science fun. And I think I understood, and I did. I understood the general, like, stakes and the general, like, whenever science mumbo jumbo gets recited to me, I can understand. I may not understand the specifics, but I can at least understand the stakes, and, or, like, what the point of what is being said. I can understand it based on the tone that's being said. But that being said, there is no way science is interesting to me. It just, for many people, I can understand it is interesting, and I can understand it that it can be interesting to some people. To most people, evidently, most people enjoy this film. So I feel like in order to enjoy this film, you have to have some sort of fascination with science. Because how else are you enjoying this film? If I'm being completely honest. But to me, as soon as I start like seeing a bunch of people in rooms talking about particles and space matter and whatever, it just immediately starts going like, I'm tuning out. Like, there's nothing about this that's hitting with me. So I'll just wait for it to go. It feels very like uninterested exposition, and that's a lot of this film. And another thing I want to tackle, I want to just mention the fact, again, I like the concept of human meeting an alien and not being like, oh no, I'm so scared, and it's a death thing. It's like, all right, let's try to work out what we are, and I think that's a very beneficial thing, especially for this time in life, and the world, of like, maybe let's not be frightened of a foreign presence. Maybe let's try to just understand. And even if we don't know the language barrier, let's just try to understand others' point of view. I like that. That is a nice message to have. And I think this film does pull it off well. Even if I don't jump on board with the way it does it. And I did. I think that was the thing that I really liked. I liked Ryan Gosling trying to like understand the character of Rocky and the language and everything like that. I like that a lot. I may have said to some friends that it does kind of feel like Arrival for babies, like that aspect of it. And this is coming from a point of view of someone that isn't in love with Arrival either. Although I do like the concept of like trying to understand an alien language and why they're here and stuff. I do feel like that aspect though of Grace and Rocky building friendships or trying to understand each other, it is just Arrival for infants. Like, that may sound pretentious, that may sound up my own, but that's just how I feel about it. And by the way, I am talking spoilers about the film, so if you haven't seen Project Hail Mary and you care about what's being said, about the film, then leave. And I also just feel like the film towards the end had an opportunity to commit to something. Twice! It had two opportunities to commit to something that would have been so much more like fascinating and interesting, and then it just pussied out immediately. And what I mean by that, it's like there's two different times of where Rocky might be dead. Rocky could be dead, and both times we have to backtrack and go like, no, but he's not. But he's not dead because we need you all to be happy. But it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, fine. Do it once, fine. Make him out, oh, he's probably dead. He sacrificed himself to say grace. Okay, but then he's fine. Okay, whatever. I don't care. Let's move on. But then we do it again of where Grace is traveling back and then he realizes that, like, oh, Rocky might not have enough to survive. So either I can go back home and Rocky could be dead, or I can go back to Rocky and help him go to his home planet, but I just abandon my home. And I just find that a bit stupid as well. I don't know. There's just... You're telling me that Ryan Gosling's like, yeah, peace out, I'll just leave, I'll never go back to Earth. Fuck that. Deal with that yourselves, you bitches. I'm going to hang out with my alien rock mate now. And it just feels too... I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but it just feels daft. It feels... I don't know if that's just very cynical of me to say, but there's only so much that I can suspend my disbelief to believe that's an actual logical decision that would be made, in this film, like, I don't know, it just doesn't, like, the character of Grace that has been established at this point, to me, you're telling me he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to leave Earth forever because I'm a lonely man. There's nothing left on Earth for me to deal with, so I'll just go to another planet. That just feels, I don't know, a bit tone deaf, maybe. Maybe those aren't the words I'm looking for. But I don't know. For a film that I didn't really care about narratively, to have that be the ending, it just feels a bit cop-out. It feels a bit like... And again, including like the Rocky fake-out death. I'm never a fan of like, oh no, they're dead. But they're not really. Don't worry. Don't get too sad. We can't have you being too sad now. We need you to be happy. We need to flirt with the idea that you can be sad. But we don't ever want to commit to you actually having any sad feelings, because everything will be fine in the end. Don't worry. Everything is okay. Nothing can ever be truly wrong. And I just can't vibe with that, guys. And one other thing I just want to mention and point out. I'm not someone who complains about runtimes. I'm always of the opinion of like a film can be as long as it needs to be. A film is ever... The Batman, 3 hours. Great. Amazing. Oppenheimer, 3 hours. Great. Amazing. Seven Samurai, 3.5 hours. Amazing. Give me more. But there's other films where I'm like, 90 minutes. Perfect. 12 Angry Men should be 90 minutes and not any longer. There's another film that I saw over the weekend that I'll talk about probably in another video that is the exact right runtime and it shouldn't be any longer. I feel like Project Hail Mary, for me personally, if they cut down an hour or whatever they were doing, I would have been a bit more entertained. But I don't know. But again, I'm not sure, like, I don't know. I wasn't into the film anyway. And it's one of these rare examples where I could acknowledge that this film just probably isn't for me. I don't know what that exactly means, but again, I think for me personally, of course for me personally, I'm saying it, I think that I just don't feel like Project Hail Mary committed to any specific tone. And that's what made it difficult for me to get on board. It's not that I dislike light-hearted films. You'll find out a bit later. That is definitely not true. But it's like, you know, as I've said, I'm a big fan of the Jump Street films. Those are anything but serious. But I'd rather a film commit to a tone as opposed to having this weird limbo middle ground of like, we're serious, but we're also just kind of having a good little... but we're also, you know, we're just kind of having a bit of fun. But we're serious, but funny. I don't know. It just pick a lane. Pick a lane and just commit to it. Otherwise, it just feels too... It's trying to appeal to too much. It's this account of, to me, these kinds of films, they try to appeal to everyone. And in doing so, it doesn't feel like it appeals to any one person. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm clearly incorrect because a lot of people like it. But for me, I just didn't really vibe with Project Hail Mary. Sorry.